is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello. Well, let's get back to it.
Just over a month after thousands fled their homes in California as the state saw its most destructive wildfires in history, communities across the south of the state have now been hit by flash flooding and mudslides.
What?
California, which was just on fire after record drought, is now underwater, and cars are being swept away in mudslides following heavy rainfall, which came just a few weeks too late. The San Lorenzo River threatened to break its banks. Powerful gusts brought down trees and caused power outages. In Altadena, mud flowed down a road during the flash flood. These areas were badly hit by the deadly wildfires last month as more than 18,000 structures were damaged or destroyed. In the Hollywood Hills, a large debris flow has left about 8 inches of mud across the road. In Pacific Palisades, one of the affected areas in last month's wildfires, one intersection of the highway was submerged in at least 3 feet of sludge. In the San Francisco Bay Area, there were blackouts and landslides. But don't worry, Americans. Donald Trump has been authorized by Elon Musk's 10-year-old son to declare that there is no such thing as climate change, so you are saved. Making America happy again. In Britain, we have had so much gloom, it is almost as though the Tango Twitler was elected to run this country.
Don't be rude.
The gloomiest February since the dawn of time is at an end, and we experience the sun in the sky. Can you believe that?
No.
Parts of the country have had 0 minutes of sunshine for 7 consecutive days for the first time since 1979, whenever that was. The winds of change blew in today, bringing gladness and joy. The glorious sun is finally expected to cut through the clouds near the capital at, just as the sun is rising tomorrow. The Met Office said that it was the 7th consecutive day when 0 sunshine has been recorded in London, the first time in, since 1989. So that's 1989 from this year, which is 2014. So 1989 from 2014, it's minus 19, minus 4 minus 9 is 14. Add that to 201, it's 197. So that's the first time in 514 years. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Yes. I actually can believe that it hasn't been sunny for 514 years. Meanwhile, that's looking back. Looking ahead, the outlook from Saturday to Monday, dry, cloudy, cold. Rain moving in from the west and the southwest, and the northwest too, I bet. They didn't actually mention the northwest, but I can check on that while you wait. I mean, fully expecting it to be raining right now, as a matter of fact. One moment, please. Aha! It is snowing. It might not be snowing right now, but it's about to be. Trust me, I'm looking at an app right now. Glasgow. Snowing all night long. Snow!
Oh, no.
And then cloudy tomorrow and raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday and raining on Wednesday and raining on Thursday and raining on Friday and raining on Saturday. And I'm not making this up. It's raining on Sunday the 23rd and the Monday the 24th and the Tuesday and the Wednesday and the Thursday. So apart from tomorrow, when it won't be raining at all, but it will be thick... Oh, no. I'm sorry. Raining at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So every day for the rest of the fortnight, the rest of this month, as a matter of fact, in Glasgow. Oh, well, never mind. It's just life, innit? Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
Right, from now until the end of the month. At first, mostly dry. Mostly. And bright and cold and breezy, followed by a wet and windy period until the end of the month, and then the first 2 weeks in March. March. Spring is just around the corner. It's practically summer. Autumn, just a while away, and then we'll be round to Jesus' birthday again. First half of March, milder and unsettled with bands of rain and strong winds. Temperatures close to or a little above average. Temperatures close to or a little above average? We'll take it. Text from Simon in Windsor says, I am not prepared to be pressured by society to celebrate Valentine's Day, so instead I decided to clear out the loft with my wife. Cold, dirty and covered in cobwebs, but she's good to the kids. I could see that coming a mile away. I thought, uh-oh.
Warning, warning.
Joke incoming. But she's good with the kids. Normally I don't like listeners with material, but I'll let that one go. Josie says, hey, Nick, imagine the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland, and that's how I envisage the fat cat's faces at Thames Water after they announced today a 35% increase in water rates over the next 5 years. What? They said that even that's not enough to assist in cleaning up the sewerage. Oh.
Disgusting.
And to assist customers. As long as they get big bloomin' pay rises, says Josie. Mind you, I was once told when I worked for a high-ranking firm of lawyers in the city and I'd done overtime that I would not be paid overtime and that rank has its privileges. I'm spitting chips here, says Josie. Don't spit chips. Chips are valuable. People like chips. I have detailed files about that whole Thames Water situation. Crisis hit Thames Water has launched a bid to charge its customers more over the next 5 years than the industry regulator will allow, arguing it has been unfairly treated. Has Thames Water been taken over by Donald Trump? It's been unfairly treated? Hey, Thames Water.
Stop whining.
Britain's biggest household supplier, which is in a battle for survival as it grapples with a £19 billion debt pile, has sought a 53% hike in bills from 2025 to 2030. A 53% hike in bills. They give us an ever worse service and charge us ever more in bills. I mean, I would ask how that is capitalism. Is that really how capitalism is supposed to work? But this is an example of capitalism, of course, being as the company is not in competition with anyone. The only way a so-called customer can change their water and waste provider is to move to another area. So the question is actually, is that how monopolies are supposed to work?
Yes.
Yes, it is. That's the benefit of monopolies. The monopolist can do whatever the hell they like. And you do have the option of not paying. It's just that if you don't, you're going to jail. Which isn't much of an option, is it? But let's not be harsh, because they're in debt. Big debt. It's a debt mountain you'd need crampons to scale. It's in debt to the tune of £19 billion. And completely coincidentally, they have showered their executives and shareholders with, as of last year, £10.4 billion. You remember it was privatised by Margaret Thatcher. You remember Margaret Thatcher, don't you? Yep, that's her. When Thatcher made us the only country on earth to privatise our water and waste system, she flogged it off for a pittance with no debt. Zero debt. Since which time, the various water monopolies have loaded their companies with debt, paid that debt to themselves for excellence in being them, and now they claim they need us to pay more because they don't have enough to repair the system that's pouring billions of litres of hot sewage straight into our rivers and lakes and seashores. In this country, we have got to be the biggest mugs on earth. And successive Tory governments have tried to distract us by claiming that nothing works and everything's covered in poop is because of brown people in dinghies. And while they've been doing that, they and their associates have just been helping themselves. And so now Thames Water says it wants a 53% increase in our bills to pay for the upgrade that we've already paid for. And the so-called regulator Ofwat, which should be renamed For What, said no.
No.
And then settled on a 35% increase in bills. And, you know, I'm no expert, but if I wanted a 35% increase, I'd ask for a 53% increase, expecting to be bartered down. I mean, that's how deals work, isn't it?
I know nothing.
A 35% increase means that your bill's going to go up £639, or up to £639. £639 for water, which is not exactly in short supply in this country. Unless you are a customer of Thames Water and you happen to be unfortunate enough to live in South London this week, where a failure of the infrastructure meant taps went dry and roads were flooded and people needed to get their water from bottles. But don't worry, the regulator Ofwat's going to launch an investigation.
Oh, fabulous.
We're the only country in the world that has privatised all of its water. Just us. We're also the only country in the world that has made it more difficult to trade with our biggest trading partner. That's just us too. British exceptionalism. God, it's magnificent, isn't it?
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Nobody knows who the hell he is.
This text says, I'm currently in Sweden and I have noticed that much of the food is rather moist. He says, cake, bread, licorice, definitely rather moist, says Sean in Malmo. Well, I mean, many food items are much improved if they're moist. Fish, risotto, the cake that you mentioned there, Sean, a moist cake is better than a dry one. But some things you don't want moist, like bread. I mean, you did say bread there. Moist bread? No, not really. Sausages? You don't want a moist sausage, let's be honest. A juicy sausage? Yes. Moist? No. Swedish people, eh? I didn't know I was going to say that. Still, I mean, they don't care, do they? They can amuse themselves by having hot interpersonal relationships with other Swedish people.
Disgusting.
This says, Nick, I've lost faith in this country. How can so many people support reform? I didn't know we were that racist. It's that texter. Well, the thing about racism is that it became relatively not the done thing to express racist thoughts or any other kind of thoughts out loud since, let's say, the 1980s, pretty much. I mean, racism used to be peak entertainment on a Saturday night for all of the family on the telly. Not no more, not really. We've sort of gone in the other direction, but now certain individuals, certain oily charlatans have come along and they have made it more acceptable to express those ist and ick feelings out loud. And I don't believe that those feelings ever went away. It's just that people didn't feel comfortable expressing them. But they do now. Let's have Chatham. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Nick. I want to talk about Trump, but, I mean, you're just talking about water. Where I am, we're under Southern Water, and we had our updated bill, and I had to pick myself up at the floor when that came through.
How much?
It was at least, I think it was about £150 more a year.
More?
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was quite disturbing, really. But I've been listening to LBC on and off over the last couple of days. I was listening to Ben Kentish the other day, and the amount of people that support Putin is quite disturbing, really, and I don't really understand it.
Yeah, it's really kind of alarming. What's really bizarre is that all of the people that expressed patriotism the most, they seem to want or quite like the idea of being taken over by a foreign dictator. Yeah,
I really don't know. There was someone actually on Ben's show. He was saying that he trusted Putin more than Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
really
that's
don't understand where that comes from.
Well, it comes from what you just said there. It comes from a level of stupidity that it's hard to put into words. I mean, he trusts Vladimir Putin over... If he trusts Vladimir Putin so much, go and have a cup of tea with Vladimir Putin. I double dare you.
I know. It's like, I mean, I'm of a vintage age now. I'm nearly 52.
52 years old.
And the amount of young people in their 20s who seem to really support reform, and they don't kind of... I mean, when I was at school, you had like government and politics and your education and all that kind of... But I don't know if they teach that anymore. And they just kind of... like the things that they like, the California wildfires. There's a conspiracy, and it's just kind of everything.
What's the conspiracy, though? Is it space? Is it got anything to do with space lasers?
Jewish space lasers, apparently.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just kind of, it's really disturbing. I mean, a friend of mine, he moved to America. He married an American woman, and I begged him to kind of vote Democrat, but he said, I don't trust either of them. I'm going to vote Green. And that's just basically a waste. And, yeah. Which it must be such a small amount over there.
Yeah, tiny.
Yeah.
No, you have to, in America, you have to pick one. And a lot of people pick Trump, perhaps for the first time, or maybe they were just, dyed-in-the-wool Republicans, and it doesn't matter what anybody says or does, they're always going to vote Republican. But there's the internet is now alive with videos of crying people whose decision has blown up in their face because they voted for Donald Trump to be cruel to other people. They did not assume that if they voted for him, that they would be one of those people. As though Donald Trump has some sort of record as to who it is that voted for him and is going to go out of his way in order to be nice to them. They're going to get swept up in this crazy too, unless, of course, they're billionaires, in which case they have made the right decision in voting for Donald Trump.
Well, I was watching, are you familiar with The Daily Show?
Yes.
And they were saying about, like, the tariffs that he wants to put on Canada and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, this is the worst deal ever. And then they showed some footage, and he was, like, the one who instigated those deals in the first place.
Yes.
So
why any nation in the right frame of mind would want to do a trade deal with Donald Trump, I can't possibly imagine, because he signed those trade deals and then ripped them up because he thought, in his words, that they were being mean and nasty to him. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Why would we crawl across the carpet and beg him to do a trade deal with us with the evidence right in front of our face that no deal means anything to that man?
Well, I really, really hope that the Labour Party will have some cojones and move towards Europe rather than the USA, because you can't rely on the USA anymore.
You cannot rely on America anymore. I tell you, I mean, we've come to the point now where China is a more reliable partner than the United States of America.
Yeah, it's really kind of, and the lack of education that a lot of people seem to have in just general awareness of how things are. It's quite disturbing. I mean, I try to not to watch the news, and I try to just do a bit of gardening and forget everything.
Yes, exactly.
It's just, like you said, like, don't doom scroll.
Yes, and I'm guilty of that myself. But my excuse is that it's kind of required for what I do. But I try to limit myself to a couple of hours, maybe at most, in the morning, and then go do something else. I mean, gardening is just absolutely perfect. I bet your garden is just on the edge of bursting forth.
Well, I was in there earlier, and I can see many things pointing out of the ground.
Right. Well, that's the start. As long as they're not, as long as they're not fingers.
Yes.
Right, thanks a lot, Paul. 0345 6060 973. If you've got fingers pointing out the ground, then I would alert the authority. Or maybe don't. Just cover them up. Keep it quiet. Zach in Buffalo says, the current leader of the opposition is a true inspiration to us all. Fake it till you make it, and if all else fails, just read the script. The current leader of our opposition. Because I read Buffalo, and I'm thinking, that's New York, isn't it? New York State, Buffalo. We ain't got no place called Buffalo in this country. So I was unsure which leader of which opposition he was talking about. I remain confused. Graham says Trump has shown his true colours. All he cares about is his own ego. Oh, you just come to that conclusion, have you, Graham? He says he thinks we're all going to praise him for handing his gangster boss Putin a victory. What a cowardly appeaser this disgraceful man is. Correct, Amundo. Yes. What's amazing to me is he was in the brief period that Elon Musk allowed him to speak this week, I mean, that was just embarrassing. Elon Musk with his kid crawling all over him and picking his nose and telling Trump to shut up and go away. And what the hell is going on over there? But in the brief period that Elon Musk did allow Donald Trump to speak, some reporter, presumably who will not be invited back in a room, asked Donald Trump if in his discussions with Vladimir Putin about Ukraine, that Ukraine should perhaps take a part. And the idea came as a surprise to Donald Trump. He thought, that's an interesting idea. I think that's exactly what he said. As though it hadn't occurred to him that the country has just been invaded might have something to say about its own future. What's happening? 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. Maidstone. Hello, Tony.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Tony.
Yeah, well, it was just one thing, but I've got 2 or 3 now. J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to sound like a Brexiteer here. Now, he has cheek to come over here. When I say that, I mean Europe, because I'm a European in my opinion. We should be Europe. He's been in Munich today. He has the cheek to come over here and basically slag us all off.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Well, they do appear as though they believe they've won the world, not the American election. And they think that they've taken over. It's like the mafia has moved into your area. It's just that the area is the whole world.
Yeah, but I was watching the news. I like watching the 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock news. Not 10 o'clock on a Friday and Saturday because I listen to you. But I like watching the 6 o'clock news. And I was actually gobsmacked, you know. And you've got poor Zelensky, thinking, well, what's going to happen? I'm really worried. I'm really, really worried. But the funny thing is, you just had a caller before from Chatham. I was in Chatham earlier on. Mason and Chatham aren't far from each other. I thought that was quite weird. But I think he got it right, you know. He was saying that the amount of people defending Putin recently, or the callers.
Yeah.
That I think he was talking about a Cornish one. You know that one who was a farmer who was... I
don't.
James O'Brien just absolutely destroyed him about the farmer thing. I think it was him. So he has a bit of a reputation. But, yeah, I was really, really, really disappointed.
Really, really disappointed. Well, I tell you what,
Really
if you want to see a lot of Russian misinformation, just look at X, formerly known as Twitter, under any story that has anything to do with America or particularly Russia, and there'll be thousands of comments in praise of Vladimir Putin, and then you hover your mouse over their name, and they are anonymous accounts with about 6 followers and an official blue tick. They're all robot accounts.
Yeah, so what damage are they causing? They're obviously causing a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's called propaganda.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. And Nick, before you go, now, are you aware? Now, I had a friend. Now, this was actually very traumatic for me. The Nick Abbot radio fans on Facebook. Now, one of you know what someone commented about me? I was, to be honest, I thought it was quite funny, but I can understand why, especially celebrities, might get a bit worried. So my friend sent me, I wish he didn't now. Do you know what he said? I'm not going to mention his name. Think if I was stuck on a desert island with Tony from Maidstone, I may resort to violence. Now,
wow.
I know, but there was a lot of comments. I just thought I'm just the ordinary person.
Yeah.
But yeah, this person, yeah. But my friend was going, you should go back on. I used to on Facebook, but yeah, I thought it was funny. But you can understand why, especially celebrities, especially if you've got an addiction, because you've got people just running around after you all the time.
Yeah.
While they may struggle. But yeah, I thought I'd share that. So
Okay.
Nick Abbott radio fans must be closed down immediately.
For the benefit of our health, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I endorse this message. Thanks a lot, Tony.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yes, the whole world has gone crazy, and Tom texts the following. Hi, Nick. Everything coming out of the US at the moment sounds crazy. Why did the American people vote that orange maniac back in? He makes the world a more dangerous place and it's scary, says Tom. Yes, well, the American people voted the orange maniac back in because he said that he was going to bring down prices on day one. He was going to bring down the price of eggs and he was going to bring down the price of gas and all of that stuff on day one. How's that working out, by the way?
Dreadful.
Yeah, really shocking. And that's the way to get elected. If you're some know-nothing chump and you want an election or a referendum to go your way, then simply make a promise that you can't keep about prices going down.
We could have cheaper food, clothing and footwear straight away by getting rid of the protectionist anti-trade tariffs that the EU imposes. And it would be very good for the British people and it would provide certainty. And I think once there's certainty, the country will begin to reunite.
Oh, don't you understand? Still not missing you, smug, in case you were wondering. Jen in Attleborough texts, is California now moist? Yes, it is. Squish it and you will find out. 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. Westminster, Hassan.
Hey, Nick.
Yes,
Nick,
Hassan.
I've been following the exploits of Rachel Reeves or Rachel from Accounts.
Oh, yes.
And I feel I used to be a banker for many years.
I am sorry to hear that.
The tricks. I didn't do any of these tricks, right? So
Tricks?
she went around sort of buying gifts for her colleagues.
Well,
and then they would buy gifts for her.
One gift, yes. Carry on.
And then they would all start giving each other gifts on the bank's expense.
Which was per the bank's rules.
Yes. But then she did something silly, which is that she bought a gift, which was a bottle of champagne, charged the bank for it, and then just forgot to give it to her friend.
Right.
So that is probably when that friend snitched on her.
Oh, well, then we definitely want the Conservatives back in power straight away, and then we can get back to, how the country used to be run in an upstanding and moral way.
No, but I think what it shows is that there is hardly a difference between these two clans. And because you have
Hassan, you have got to be kidding me. The examples that you've just given,
yes.
they hold a candle to what this bloke got up to?
Yeah. Wait.
Are you serious?
No, but just give them time, right? You saw Oliver Gwynne and
give
his
them
sort of
time.
wonderful
So
potty mouth.
we'll pre-convict them for future crimes. Is that what you're saying?
No. I think every week there is some interesting tidbit, right? So it was not. It was.
If I went through your life with a tooth comb, Hassan, I bet I could find some interesting tidbits there too.
No. I will not have charged my bank for champagne gifts. I would not have charged my bank or my friends to dress up my wife in fancy clothes.
You might have done if that was what the banks were allowing.
No, but banks are never allowing. It was just a cheeky attempt to get money on the freebie.
Oh,
look.
Okay, well, let's get Nigel Farage to run the country, and then we can all be happy. God, I just can't stand it, all this nitpicking. Rachel Reeves has been accused of having a cavalier attitude to expenses during her time in retail banking, forcing the Chancellor and the Prime Minister to defend her conduct and insist that there was no wrongdoing. Keir Starmer said he had full confidence in Rachel Reeves and said she had dealt with any issues that arose from her career in retail banking after claims the Chancellor was investigated for alleged misuse of expenses and made inaccuracies on her CV. And Reeves' career history has been put under scrutiny again after an investigation by the revealed that her time working at the Bank of England was 9 months shorter than she claimed, and that her use of expenses while working at HBOS was subject to an internal investigation. And there was an internal investigation, and no conclusion of wrongdoing was reached. A whistleblower blamed Reeves and her two managers' use of expense. Whistleblower claimed Reeves and two other managers' use of expenses was excessive, telling the BBC they had a very cavalier attitude regarding the budget in her department. What, like a banker, you mean? A cavalier attitude to money? Bankers literally make money. Like bakers make bread. Bakers come home covered in flour. Bankers come home covered in money. Reeves' spokesmodel said the Chancellor had never been questioned about her expenses while she was at the bank and believed that all items she put through on expenses were within company rules, which they were. Documents seen by the reporters for the contained evidence that the three managers' use of expenses on taxes and gifts included for each other. Did that make sense? Shall I read it again?
No.
Evidence about the three managers' use of expenses on taxes and gifts, including for each other, were upended by these reporters. The whistleblower's report claimed she spent, get ready, you might want to sit down, massive number coming at you. The whistleblower's report, and this is the extent of it, claimed she had spent £152 on a bag and perfume as a present for her boss using the bank's money. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, when she worked at a place that makes money, spent £152 on a present for the boss of the place that makes money. And there was an investigation, and it concluded no wrongdoing had taken part, and the crew spent hours of their very expensive reporters' time on investigating that. I can't wait till they dig into Bodger's expenses. I mean, there was the cushions and the sofas and the gold wallpaper and the exotic holidays and the free lunches for a month or months on end, biked round by an actual butler, literally on the edge of my seat waiting for that report to come out, ain't we, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
And here's the story buried beneath the headline of outrage. Jane Waper, former HR business partner for HBOS, the bank concern, said, I do not recognise any of the accusations or claims that have been made against Rachel Reeves. And it was her job to recognise any of them, and they weren't there. She said, in my role, I would have been made aware of any investigation which concluded there was a case to answer. I would have been required to organise and oversee a disciplinary process. This did not happen. Under the Financial Conduct Authority's rules, any such accusations would have had to have been properly investigated. She said, under the company's then expenses policy, birthday gifts and Christmas presents could be purchased using motivational credit cards. Indeed, staff were encouraged to do so. Talking about a crime that never happened. David Sorensen, the managing partner at Morrish Solicitors, who acted on behalf of Rachel Reeves when she left HBOS in 2009, said, my clear understanding at the time was that my client, who was in a senior role, left on good terms when HBOS was acquired in 2009, as evidenced by the payments made to her, her retention of her company car, and other benefits for a 6-month period, and a favourable reference. He said absolutely no allegations of wrongdoing or misconduct were mentioned by the HBOS Human Resources team during this process. So the story is, there's no story. But there doesn't have to be a story to make it a story. One journalist at a very large paper that rhymes with bun once told me that on a slow news day you can manufacture a front page out of nothing. His example was you could call Buckingham Palace to ask whether King Charles was in fact going to divorce his wife and marry a horse. And Buckingham Palace would say no. And so you have headline, Palace denies King Charles in secret plans to elope with Muffin the Mule. I mean, at most, they've got Rachel Reeves on saying that she worked at the bank 6 months longer than she had. But as far as I can tell, those were the 6 months that she was paid for after she left. Which doesn't happen if you've left in disgrace. And the dates that are at question were on her LinkedIn profile, which a staffer had written. I mean, this is just part of the continuing hysterical reaction the right wing have been having since their party lost the last election. Can I repurpose the phrase that has been slung at people like me who warned about the asininity of breaking away from our biggest trading partners to bob about friendless on the sea like a plastic duck? You lost. Get over it. And even if Rachel Reeves was guilty of everything that she's been accused of since becoming Chancellor, she still would have more integrity in her lacquered hair helmet than any of the preceding incumbents in that role under the 86,000 various Tory governments we've suffered under for the past 15 years. Ain't that right, Liz?
Absolutely.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we are doing a radio show, but it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
Now, it's a problem-solving podcast, and if you have a dilemma, an issue, a concern, something you've always wondered about, well, then simply leave it in the hands of the unprofessionals. Send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com, nickandcarol@global.com, and prepare to be totally satisfied.
Oh, right, yeah.
Over 300 episodes now. We've been doing it for 5 years, and I do believe that you will find it amusing. If you just want to check out from all this insanity that's whirling around and you just can't stand it anymore, then it is a guaranteed politics-free zone, because me and her, we agree on nothing. I mean, I'll sum up her political views. So we go out of our way not to talk about politics. So if you wish to have a laugh, then it'll be right up your alley. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? Manchester. Hello, Sam.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Yes, yeah. I was just wondering when Trump's going on his annual leave.
I think he's been on holiday for half the time that he's been president this time around. He's been playing golf every other day at a cost to the American taxpayer, I believe, of about $4 million per round of golf. If Elon Musk wants to point at waste, point at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 4 weeks. Has it been 4 weeks? It's been.
It seems like 4 years already. Isn't it time for him to go?
Well, yeah, I know, but now he's come on, obviously onto Europe. It's quite worrying what's going on with the Ukraine stuff. But I mean, it's beyond belief, to be honest. It's beyond a joke.
Well, it's beyond a joke, but it is not beyond belief. It's entirely believable, because whatever Vladimir Putin wants is
bypassed all of Europe.
Yeah, Donald Trump is eager to give it to him.
Yeah. It's unfathomable. It's disgraceful. But I mean, yeah.
Well, the nerve of the man, apart from anything else. I mean, what a nerve to just boulder in, to barge his way into this discussion and keep the country that is under attack as a sort of an afterthought. Amazing.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's disgraceful. I mean, it's just the whole of Europe. He's just bypassed the whole of Europe and said, well, I'll offer an option. You know, and we'll make peace with Putin.
And pretty soon, I mean, it seems like ridiculous to even say it out loud, but pretty soon it's entirely possible that we, Europe, could be at war with Russia and America.
Yeah. And that's a very scary thought. You know, I mean, he's a very, very, very dangerous man.
Yeah, he's a lunatic.
So, you know, and people who are vying for him and say, oh, well, yeah, he's great, he's done this, he's done that. He's done nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I'll repeat what I said last week. With him in the White House, it's like being strapped to a chair in a room with a baby playing with a gun.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Chin up, Sam. It might never Oh, no, that's right. It already has. Graham says if Trump makes Ukraine cede even 1 square mile of its land to Russia, Putin, rootin' tootin', will claim a victory, cementing his tyrannical dictatorship for many years to come. Trump will make out like he's a great statesman, but will go down in history as a craven appeaser. Craven. Is that a shade of makeup? Is that like a burnt orange? He will go down in history as a burnt orange appeaser. Either the person who does his face every day, I mean, I imagine he takes it off at night, because can you imagine the mess on the pillow? Either the person who does his face has changed brands, or Donald Trump has decided to do it himself and doesn't quite know how to, because he totally misses his eyes and the side of his face where his ears are. It's like a mask. It's essentially like one of those carnival masks that somebody puts on. I mean, it's so thick, I wonder if you could actually just peel it off and put it on the nightstand and then put it back on the next day. Somebody should look into that very strongly. This text says, fake news. I was in fashionable Camden Town today and it was very, very sunny. Don't they look out the window? No, I did say that it was sunny today. It was a break in the weather. It seems like it's been cloudy forever. I mean, this is about the third of those really long spells of like a complete whiteout. And the air was so wet and cold. God, it's been absolutely miserable this winter. But we had sun today. I kind of forgot what it was like, and we haven't seen it in so long that it has changed its position in the sky. It's higher than it was when we saw it last, like significantly so. And it was yellower. And you know what that means? Spring is just around the corner. Yellower and warmer. Oh, it was marvellous. Or at least that's what it looked like from inside, peering outside. Didn't actually go in it because, I was busy with my business. Bodmin. Hello, Malcolm.
Hello, Nick.
Malcolm.
Hey, couple of things.
Couple of three things.
You had a debate earlier on, I don't know whether it was a caller or whether you simply went off on one. But it was all about the utilities and all that.
Oh, yes.
A caller might have triggered you.
Yes, a rant, yes. An unhinged rant.
For me, I ask myself, who is responsible for the water authorities and for Brexit? Well, it is the patriotic Conservative Party, is it not?
Yes, well, they're fake patriots. They're not actually patriotic at all. They would do anything they can in order to cling on to power and to hell with what the consequences are for the country.
No. Now, here's another big thing which is about to kick off. Everybody, well, not everybody, some people are confronting it, but a few people tonight have really faced up to the fact that we are witnessing appeasement.
Yes.
From the government of the United States of America.
Completely.
And the two people who have said it out loud are two top European politicians. One is one of the top, and both names escape me, but you'll see it in the coming days in the media. One is a top man in the EU, and the other one is a top European at NATO.
Yes.
Now, it's. I mean, you've had and you just mentioned the BBC. Well, the BBC, like I've been saying to you for months and months and months, that the BBC is now run by representatives of the Conservative Party. There is no question about that.
Well, a lot of people would question that, and they would say that the opposite is true. And if you look for bias, you will find it. But
no, this isn't bias. Objectively, the BBC is now run by representatives of the Conservative Party, and I say that in absolute sadness, because I always turn to the BBC for truthful news. Now, I can't even bring myself to watch it, Nick. And honest to God, you'll find research on this.
Malcolm, I restate my case. You will find bias wherever you look for it. I mean, I would suggest that. I mean, I'm no big fan. I don't watch their news output, but I would suggest that it is more balanced than, say, what you will find in the Telegraph or the Mail, for instance.
But And moving on slightly, I was speaking to your colleague in the box there, your esteemed colleague, who
colleague in the box.
Yeah, who I know is in his mid-20s, and that's all I want to say about him. But I was saying to him that what young people in America America and Britain just and certain countries in Europe, Germany, Hungary, France, one or two others, what they don't realise is that the younger people between, let's say, 18, the age of possible conscription, and say 40, when they could probably hide and live in a cave when the day comes. But they just don't realise, the young voters, when they vote for the likes of Trump and Farage for a laugh, what they're bringing closer is the day and the distinct possibility they could be conscripted to the British Army.
Yeah, then then you will hear them whine. Exactly.
Without a politics that confronts dictators and well, let's face it, popularism, if that's the right word.
Populism.
Without governments who stand up and face what is happening, then it is coming. And
well, this is the thing. This is why there's so many videos online, like I said, of Americans crying into their phone about their benefits have just been cut, or members of their family have just been put on a plane and deported to some country they've never been to, or stuff like that. And they can't believe it, and they voted for Donald Trump, and it's just blown up in their face. I mean, everybody told them that that's what would happen, and now they're very, very upset about it because they voted for Donald Trump to be cruel to other people, not them.
Yeah, well, it may be, Nick, that Trump and Vance, it's big talk, it's bravado, but it may be that I tell you, the last few days have made me sit up in terms of how, I mean, the goal of Vance to come to Europe and speak to Europeans in the way he did, and forget him taking the mickey out of European leadership and governments. So because European people are listening to this clown, telling them that, for example, in Britain, people should be allowed to go outside abortion clinics and pray.
Right. These phony religionists in America, I've had it up to my eyeballs with them. They care about a baby until it's born, or a life until it's born. After it's born, couldn't care less.
They don't give a damn. But they're in power, Nick. These people are now in they're literally in charge of the world's most powerful nation, and it's. I think that the next week or two or three, Europe. Well, see, for me, what I don't understand is why the free world, the commercial world, the business world, isn't saying, okay, fine, let's give this a few months where we're going to give Trump a little bit back of his own medicine, and they double the tariffs on Trump's products, because America, Nick, is one country. The Twin Towers is the only time that Article 5 of NATO has ever been. Right. There've been news, right? Yes. And it was in America's interest, for God's sake. So what the rest of the world has to do is say, look, America, you're the big boys, yes, but on your own, you're not going to get far against Russia.
The only people that are really winning on this is China, because the world is looking at America and thinking, well, we can't trust this guy because he just rips up a deal that is years in the making, as though it didn't exist, and then tries to set his own terms and ignores everything that we've just agreed. So what would be the point of making a deal with somebody like that? It's completely useless. And so China is more reliable now than America is, and therefore it has now more influence on the world than America does. So China is about to be catapulted into the number one position, and it's just hard to believe that it would be smarter to get closer to China than America now. But that's where we are. Crazy days indeed. Thanks, Malcolm.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
Kath from North Wales says, hey, Nick, God save Trump so he could save America from exploding plastic straws. Yeah. The exploding plastic straws and the Canada thing, going to make Canada the 51st state in America. It'll be huge. And taking over Panama and annexing Greenland and all that other crazy stuff. That's just him waving his hands in front of your face, trying to distract you while he picks your pocket. Hey, Americans, wake up. It's later than you think. Let's have... now, who's been waiting the longest? One moment, please. It looks like Aylesbury. Francis.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Francis.
I can contain myself no longer. Do you remember Liz Truss?
Liz? Do I remember Liz Truss? Yes, absolutely I do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the Confederate in crime, crazy Kwarteng.
Crazy Kwarteng, yeah.
Nigel Farage, for those people who are thinking of voting reform or deform, Nigel Farage thought they were the best thing since sliced bread. He loved them. In fact, he didn't think they went far enough. So,
yes, well, many newspapers, when Liz Truss announced her berserk budget, said that this is the greatest budget in the history of budgets. And in a couple of days' time, it all blew up in their faces.
I know. So if you want to lose your houses or your NHS and your pension, then go ahead, vote reform.
It's the same deal as the people who voted for Trump. The people who voted for Trump thought that he was going to be cruel to other people. They didn't think that it would fall on them because they assumed that by somehow voting for Trump, it would create a force field around them that Donald Trump would recognise and he would go out of his way to be nice to them. I mean, this is the level of misinformation that we're dealing with here.
I know, it's crazy.
Great sweeping changes are going to catch you too, regardless of who you voted for.
Absolutely. And one more thing. If anyone can come up with a better deal than we had with the EU, then please call you. Let them call you now.
Oh, no.
And then I'll gladly...
No, please no.
No.
They'll go on about sovereignty or some amorphous concept like that. I can't stand it, Francis. I had that argument over and over again for about 5 years straight. I'm not going to do it again.
I'm going to borrow one of Elon Musk's rockets and leave the planet.
Yes.
That's what I'll do.
Let's get out of here.
Take it with me.
Okay, I'll see you at the launch pad. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Yvonne says, hello, Nick. Reference the Donald. I do not wear a toupee. His voice raises notably. Does this signify anything? Yeah, I think it's probably because he wears a toupee.
I don't wear a toupee.
Yeah, it's probably because he wears a toupee, yeah. Barry in Worksop says, Nick, when do we get the warning that the WHO are wrecking our enjoyment of life? No fat, no smoke, no sugar, and now no alcohol. Can't they be locked in their chamber and the key thrown away? He's not talking about the WHO.
Rock and roll!
He's talking about the WHO. You know, the other one.
Boring!
Yeah, the boring WHO that tells you not to eat fat or smoke or take sugar and absolutely not take any booze.
Booze?
No, none of that. Actually, they're just saying be aware of the dangers. They're not telling you not to do it. I mean, everybody that smokes tobacco understands that they're not doing themselves any good. Be aware. I'm not saying you can't do it. 0345 6060 973. Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Jeff.
Well, hiya, Nick.
Jeff.
It's pretty depressing, isn't it? It's something.
God, I'm hearing a lot of people who are depressed.
Yeah. I'm listening to the news behind the sofa. Hiding behind the sofa. Whatever happens every day is just like some surreal nightmare.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I can't go on like this. I need to be amused. I mean, I need happiness.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah. And do you know what I thought? Do you remember last Friday? You were well. I was really worried about you. You had this coughing fit.
Yeah.
Remember?
I'm still not 100%. Actually, you can hear it in my voice, a little bit crackly.
Yeah. And you cured yourself by opening the window.
Opening the window, yeah.
And it reminded me, and for the first time in about a week, I smiled. Do you remember our very first conversation? you and I,
No.
a beautiful friendship.
No.
You don't.
No,
okay.
I don't.
I'll remind you. You were talking about birdseed.
Birdseed?
You had bought a bag of birdseed.
Oh.
And you were complaining.
Yes.
You were complaining about the fact that the birds were, in fact, mess eaters, and you were getting rats in the garden, whatever. Right?
Well, pigeons. Pigeons absolutely loved it. I don't know whether they got rats. I got rats in the basement. What am I going to do? But I'm not sure that the two were in any way connected.
Okay. And you went on, and I said, and I phoned you up, and they said, have you got fat balls? and you said, pardon.
And I said,
what? And they said, oh, yeah, I see what you mean. And then you went on to talk about birdseed again. And I waited for a pause in the rant about birdseed.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to you, tits like coconuts. And you said, and I quote, you said, get to a window, Jeff. I can hear you guffawing. Can you get air, Jeff? Get to a window. Open a window. Take a breath. And that's what... And I reminded myself of it in this depths of despair that we're in, and I smiled.
Just fling a window open and let nature in. Yes, good idea.
Anyway, thank you.
All right, thanks for the memories, Jeff. 0345 6060 973. I remember nothing about that at all. This says, Nick, I know it's cold outside, but some fresh air did you good last week, so open the window, put a scarf on, grab a cup of tea and stay warm. We don't mind the occasional police car in the background. Well, I'm thinking of doing it now because I'm getting a bit coffee. I mean, I don't mean coffee the drink. I'm getting a bit, coffee. Is that okay? The thrum of a machinery just outside this window. But already I can feel the air is cleaner. This text says, oh, so RFK Jr. is now the face of public health in the United States. A man who resembles a microwaved Mel Gibson, with skin almost as orange as Trump himself. Between him, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, and Elon Musk, I wouldn't trust Americans with scissors, let alone nuclear weapons. I concur entirely. What colour is RFK Jr., by the way? I mean, I know he's had a lot of, issues, but I wasn't aware that it actually changed the colour of his skin. And how do you get skin that colour? I mean, it's winter, for crying out loud. It's not like he's sunbathing. And anybody who sunbathes that much, I mean, you might as well just throw yourself on the barbecue. Just set fire to yourself. You couldn't possibly be any more burnt. Yeah, it's like America is now crazy land. And I just wonder how long it's going to be before his MAGA red hat-wearing cult fans realise that they've been had. Because it's going to come. I mean, a lot of them are already, crying into their phones because they voted for Donald Trump to be cruel to other people, not them. And they can't believe that it's happening to them. Oh, my family's getting deported. Who did you vote for? Donald Trump. He said he was going to deport other people, not people I know. Morons. We're surrounded by morons. But even morons will get the idea eventually. You know, they're upset that prices continue to go up in the shops. Eggs, you can't buy them, and even if they are on the shelves, they're something like $19 for 10 or 12. I mean, it's enormously expensive, and that was the main reason that they said that they wanted to get Biden out. That doddery old fool has been increasing prices in the grocery store, they said. And Donald Trump, ever the person to lie his face off in order to get ahead, said, I will bring down prices on day one. Day one! How's that going?
Oh, fabulous.
No, they've done nothing but go up. And everything that he's done since acquiring power by whatever means has meant that they will continue to go up quite sharply with this tariffs insanity. And so eventually they won't be able to deny that their decisions have caused this problem, that they were suckered. Now, there's a lot of sort of levels of acknowledgement that you have to go through before you admit out loud, or even to yourself, that you've been suckered. And at first you will double down. And they will insist that anything that is happening now is because of, you know, you name it. It's Hillary Clinton's emails, or it's the deep state, or, they'll just come up with anything. Anything but admitting that they've been had, that they've been duped, played for suckers. But eventually they're going to run out of excuses. I mean, it's not like last time around where they could say that Donald Trump is being stymied by the deep state. There ain't no deep state. They fired them all. They've closed it all down. So it's pure, unadulterated Trump now. And there won't be anywhere for these people to go in their minds as to make up an excuse as to why this is happening to them. So they're going to eventually have to come round to, it's Donald Trump that's doing this. And I just wonder what will happen then. Because his fans aren't the brightest in the box.
I love the poorly educated.
But they're the ones with all the guns. They're the ones in the low population states that are addicted to state benefits, apart from anything else. And Donald Trump is going about cutting state benefits. And that's going to hurt really hard, really quickly. You know, for people who depend on food stamps or whatever the current equivalent is, you know, our benefits, those are the people that the world's richest man wants to take money off. I mean, it's just amazing what's happening while claiming that he's doing God's work. You know, because that's what Jesus wants. If Jesus were to come back and walk among us today, what Jesus would be all about is taking money from the poor and giving it to the rich. It's in the Bible somewhere, I'm sure it is. Everything else is.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Some nobody.
0345 6060 973. Mike texts, if everybody stopped paying their water bills, then no one would be going to prison because there are no prisons to put them in. And they can't cut water supplies off by law, says Mike. Darren in London says, did you see that tweet from Liz Truss last week on plastic straws? Yeah, I did, yeah. It made just as much sense as anything else that Liz Truss has ever said.
Absolutely.
He says, however, I agree with Trump. We need plastic straws back. Those paper straws are rubbish, says Darren, who's apparently his lips don't work. I mean, why do we have a straw anyway? I mean, we used to get by without straws. Most faces come with lips. Can you not purse them around the rim of a cup and drink without it all going down your front? Here's that message from Liz Truss. She said, I tried to stop the ludicrous British government plastic straw ban back in 2018. These lefty policies resulted in the Conservatives getting trounced in 2024. Liz Truss, eh? I mean, she just keeps giving and giving, don't she? Thank you for being you, Liz Truss. Don't ever change. Luton. Hello, John.
Hello.
Yes, John.
How are you doing? Yeah.
Good,
yeah,
thanks.
I just wanted to say, spare a thought for Thames Water. The amount of sewage coming over from over that ocean from the White House is unbelievable. I don't think they can cope.
Up to our eyeballs in it.
Yeah, I wanted to mention the actual. How do they prepare their speeches? I mean, think about the opportunity Vance had to speak to powerful, good European leaders. Well, what's he? And then he comes down to England. What does he speak? He's got, I've got something really significant. How can I get hold of the issues for the UK? I thought, is he going to talk about Joe Cox and the murder, David Amis, where people would say, oh, good point, we need to protect our MP. But no, he goes into this cult-like, and it's basically, as you said before, quite rightly, it's not Christian, David.
No, it's the opposite of that. They use religion as a weapon, yes. People like that.
Exactly. And what did he say? He said, he lied. The first thing you do is you whip up a lie. So the fact the Scottish government never told people that they were going to be forbidden from praying in their own homes.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
It really doesn't matter because you create the story by saying it out loud, and then people run around and fact check it. But by the time that they have printed the fact check, the lie has gone all the way around the world, and that's what people believe.
Yeah, and the guy who was praying outside the abortion clinic, now, if he'd actually murdered a girl going into it, he'd have said, well, that's what we want to see from the Brits. We want to see them dealing with these women.
Well, I'm not sure even he would say that.
Oh, I don't know. But, I just, I've got to say, he's so far off the record, but one of the worst ones, I couldn't believe it when he suggested Canada should become a 52nd, is it, state?
51st. This is just distraction. It's all just distraction. It must be, because you'd have to be completely insane to think that Canada is going to just fold itself into the United States of America. I mean, they see their crazy... It's like they're living in the apartment above the crazy people in their block of flats. They don't want to go and live with them.
So the question I've got is he mentally ill, Mr. T?
Yeah.
Or is he driven by a team of extremists around him to say, keep going? In other words, is he the front man for an overall extremist? I don't know.
Well, that is exactly what is happening. He is the front man for an extremist agenda by billionaires who appear to have got the notion that they want to take over the world because they would run it better for the benefit of billionaires.
Yeah, and what concerns me, I did make a rare viewing of Question Time yesterday, and I saw this Boyk from the Reform Party, or Deformed, I call them. He was given a speech. It bored the audience to tears, but about how great Trump was and how we need to learn from Trump. If we only learn from Trump, we'd make Britain great again. I was thinking, this guy's serious.
These fake patriots who want to... They're all about sovereignty, and then some strongman dictator type comes along, and they roll over onto their backs with their legs in the air, and they want him to put a lead on them and take them walkies. I just don't understand how that one person can have both thoughts in the same mind. Either you are about sovereignty, or you want to give our country away to the first psychopath that comes our way. But you can't have both.
And he wants to turn Gaza into a new series of golf courses.
Yeah.
But that's the way he thinks. And I don't know what you do with a madman. How do you cope with it as the world when you got this?
Well, the acquisitive nature of the man is just remarkable. It seems like Trump is on a mission to become the world's richest person. I mean, he sees Vladimir Putin, who by many accounts actually is the world's richest person, and he wants to be that. And that's why he's interested in Panama, because of the fees that you could charge if you were running such a piece of infrastructure. And that's why he wants Greenland, because of the precious metals and all of the rest that the melting snow is revealing and making easier to access, and that's why he wants Canada, because of the oil and the gold and all of the rest of it. And it's just about money for him. And if you just think about everything in those terms, as far as Trump is concerned, that's all he's interested in: money and flattery.
And I do worry for the Ukrainians, because I wouldn't surprise me at all if he followed up his private phone call with Putin and just phased out the Ukrainians altogether and gave them another 20% of the country. And said, there you go, I sorted it.
Well, the thing with that is, first of all, what the hell's it got to do with Donald Trump? And the second is, I mean, the most he could do, Trump, is to remove the aid that America is giving Ukraine. And right enough, they are giving a significant amount, not as much as the EU is giving, and most of the aid that America is giving is in military supplies, which is that America is paying. It's like a vast transfer of wealth from the American public to the military establishment, the military industrial complex, the companies that make rockets and bombs and stuff like that. So he would be crushing his own defence industry if he rode back on those the aid that he's giving to Ukraine. They don't give hardly anything at all in humanitarian aid, and they don't give much in the way of financial aid. It's all bombs and bullets. So, American industry is the one that's going to suffer if Trump pulls the plug on Ukraine. And I think that the rest of us can stump up a bit to fill the gap.
And the Americans are going to get poorer and poorer. Like you say, it's the poorer in the central parts of USA that voted for Trump, trusting that they would be protected from some mysterious evil force. and
they're the ones that are going to get it the most.
Eating them alive,
I mean, it really is extraordinary. He's hurting those that voted for him first and most. I mean, the elite, as they keep going on about, the well-off people who live on the coasts and they're well-paid and who are bizarrely and comically, they're the customers for Elon Musk's cars. The MAGA lot, they don't want electric cars. Electric cars are gay. They're not going to buy a Tesla from Elon Musk. They want something that pumps smoke out the back of it and is really noisy while it's doing it.
Oh, God.
So everything that Trump is doing is going to impact those that voted for him the most, the poor people who are in receipt of benefits in the middle of America. That's who voted for Trump. The people on the coast who are well off and they got 2 cars in the driveway, they're going to be just fine.
But if you're in a cult, unfortunately, what happens is you're brainwashed into believing what's happened to you is the will of God.
Yeah, the will of God, yeah. Well, then they're going to have to face up to the fact that God doesn't like them very much. All right, thanks a lot, John. Yeah, I mean, it's like a science experiment. It's a big sociology experiment going on, and sociologists and psychologists all over the world should be pointing their faces at this and taking copious notes, because this is something the likes of which has never been tried. How to dupe 70-odd million people into voting for you, and then you punish them all and see what happens. Because they would have voted for him because they thought it was going to be bad for other people, for people they hate. And it's turning out to be bad for the very people that voted for him. He conned them all. I'm going to bring prices down on day one, he said. I'm going to stop the Ukraine war on day one, he said. All of these things that he said he was going to do on day one. And even if it takes him a year, it's still going to impact those that voted for him the most, because they're the poorest and they are the ones that are most in receipt of state benefits, which are the things that Elon Musk is busy cutting because he wants that money instead. I mean, if that's not an indicator of sickness, I don't know what is. A person with more money than any human being has ever had is spending his entire day trying to find more of it. He doesn't appear to be a happy person, does he? Not all there. This text says, "Hi, Nick. I'm travelling from Dundee to Warrington tonight. I was in Glasgow for 2 whole hours earlier and it didn't rain once." Can you believe that?
No.
No, I cannot. And I suspect that you are lying about that. This says, "Nick, the Super Bowl coverage was interrupted by a Fox News interview with Donald Trump rambling on about tariffs and Canada becoming the 51st state. At least the orange one couldn't have been more wrong with this game prediction. He left at half-time." Yeah, he did. Yeah, he left at half-time. He's the only president who's ever shown up for the Super Bowl at a cost of an unfathomable amount of money. If Elon Musk was genuinely concerned about waste, then he should just point his calculator at Donald Trump. Cut all of that, all of it. The Super Bowl. Anybody see that?
Boring.
It couldn't be more dull. American football is just awful. I don't know how anybody can watch it. There's about 10 seconds of action, and then they stand around and talk about it for 5 minutes. How is that even a game? I mean, at least rugby is not stop-start like that. Well, not as much. But that a whole nation was busy watching that for 4 hours or however long it takes, you couldn't pay me enough to watch that.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
I am not one of your fans!
This text says, stop making out Reform are racist because they don't agree with your woke ways. There's another one of these people that think that being woke, as in having consideration for others, is a bad thing. How did that happen, by the way? That having consideration for others is now considered weak and bad. Anyway, there's more. He says, stop making out Reform are racist because they don't agree with your woke ways. People are supporting reform because the left have failed and always will do. Oh, really? Have the right failed? Because I think we just went through 14 years of right-wingery, and it seemed to have failed catastrophically. Noor in London says, J.D. Vance is right. Europe should focus on threats from within, i.e. Farage, Musk and Trump. Well, I think the last two are threats from without, but, yeah, other than that, I concur. Brighton, hello, John.
Hello, Nick. Yeah, it is nice to have a sane government in the UK these days, isn't it?
It's a benefit of not being American, yes.
Yeah, although now we've now got the world of crazy in America with Trump.
Yeah.
But no, about the Rachel Reeves story, it's just incredible how the right-wing media, particularly Daily Express, keep coming up with this story every few weeks. They're desperate to pin something on her.
They've been desperate to pin something on the Labour government in its entirety. They've been having a screaming fit ever since their party lost the last election, the right-wing press.
But particularly, because they get into this idea that, with their headlines, and they're running a campaign about the winter fuel allowance and the farmers' tax.
Right.
They keep pushing that every few weeks, on and on. So they're desperate to get something on Reeves. They're probably digging out stories from anyone that can come up with a vague story against her and blow it up in some way and pin it on her that there's something dodgy going on.
Yeah. The winter fuel allowance is, okay, politically it was not the smartest move, but really, if you add up all of the misery that was caused to old people by 14 years of continuous Tory rule, it is just a smidgen, the winter fuel allowance, by comparison. It's non-existently small an effect. And the tractor people, God, I am so up to my eyeballs with farmers. They're acting in the interest of people who aren't farmers. They're acting in the interest of landowners. They've been duped, just like the Americans who voted for Trump. And the tractor protests, based on the amount of jail time that the Just Stop Oil people have got, every single person on a tractor should be in jail right now. And did you notice how suspiciously clean those tractors were? They didn't even have mud in the tread of those gigantic tyres.
Yeah.
Those tractors had never been used for farming.
But the funny thing about when I see the TV coverage of the tractor protest in Westminster, there's almost nothing happening. They're sort of they all line up, but there's no real protest there. They just turn up. They're in their country gear, and a lot of them are. And obviously there are with the winter fuel and the farmers' tax, there are things that you could think that maybe.
No,
to be considered. I don't know.
I get the winter fuel allowance. If you are desperately poor and by some means you have fallen through the gaps that would otherwise have saved you, then yes, there's a few people who are going to be negatively impacted by that. But the farmers, they have been seriously misinformed and they're being led astray by people who are actual millionaires who have based their tax affairs on the assumption that they'll be able to get away with paying no tax while everybody else has to.
Well, that's a good deal anyway. But I think the main thing is particularly Daily Express, they are absolutely desperate. They're just scraping the barrel, trying to find a way to pin something and target Rachel Reeves particularly, and they want to get rid of her and then say, look what we did. Look what we did. It's the Express that did it. Yeah, I think they're going to say the Express did it, and yeah.
Yeah, well, Skier should stand up to them, and so far he has done just that on this particular issue. Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. This text says, "Hi, Nick. I did not know that convicted felons cannot go to Canada. Now we know why Canada is the target." Well, that, and Canada has got a lot of oil and minerals and gold and, all the rest of it, precious metals, which is why he wants Canada. He just wants... I mean, it's very, very simple. Don't look for depth, because there isn't any. He just wants money and flattery. That's it. And, a hot night with the latest Miss World. He wants a hot night with the latest Miss World, Melania.
I don't care.
She's actually not bothered. She sounded relieved. Let's have Sandbach. John.
Oh, yeah.
John.
I was agreeing with the call about the farmers and all that, and the Daily Express. He did dead right. Since the Labour Party's got in, the Knives have been out big style. And I was really embarrassed to see the BBC were in on the act. I'm not embarrassed, but I mean, I thought that was terrible. I mean, they stooping so low, the only politics they can get is having a go with Rachel Reeves. That's unbelievable. I mean, I remember 14 years ago when the Conservatives and the Dems got in, nobody said, these both claimed they managed the business.
Yeah.
These both claimed they were all managers and businesses. What fat lot of good that it does.
Yeah, but running a business is in no way similar to running a country, and people should stop saying that. That you need some sort of history or background in business in order to run a government department. It's completely the opposite. Businesses are run for profit.
Yeah, they've got bosses tell you what to do, and you jump, and it's a matter about how high. I mean, government's a completely different, completely different system. And the other thing is the evangelists are back.
Oh,
they're creeping around in the Conservative government. The down over. I'm sure J.D. Vance is an evangelist, where he was speaking to them.
Yeah, but yes, he makes out like that. But my opinion is all of those people would be first on God's to smite list if he found out about what it was that they were saying in his name.
Yeah, no, never take the name of the Lord in vain, eh? Well, they've been doing it all the time, but in a nice way.
All the time. Yeah.
All the time.
There's nothing nice about them. They're using religion as a weapon. And if they actually cared about children, then they would care about them after they've been born. But they don't. So that whole abortion thing is not about the sanctity of life, because the same people who go on about abortion is murder are for capital punishment. How you can hold two of those thoughts in the same head is just beyond me.
You'd also worry about the children who've been, the hundreds of children been shot dead in that country every year.
Yeah.
By the guns.
And every single time someone goes around a school and shooting it up, and there's a school shooting every week in America. There's a mass shooting every day. I'm not making this up. Every day. And you don't hear about it because it happens so often. It's just boring for them. And there's a school shooting every week, and every single time Republican politicians come out and say, oh, it's too soon to talk about gun control. But thoughts and prayers.
Send them over to the Ukraine now and get in the trenches with the Ukrainians and start shooting at the Russians.
Yeah, they can have a discussion with the Russians from there. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. David in Kent says, the only thing worse than Trump is a moist Trump. Well, that is true. Matt in Sidcup says, I know he can be more presidential than anybody. Hang on a minute. Oh, yeah, I got it. Right. He says, I know he can be more presidential than anyone, and he knows words all the best words, but there's no strategy. He has no strategy. There's zero strategy, says Matt. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has no strategy.
There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy.
Zero strategy. Michael said, did you see Musk's little boy picking his nose in the Oval Office? Honestly, what the hell is going on? It's surreal. Yeah, if you're in any doubt about who it is that is running America, be in no doubt now. Every single male in that room, and there were a lot of them, had a smart jacket and tie and dress shirt on. All of them, except one person who showed up in a T-shirt with his kid, thereby underlining that he is in control. And Donald Trump just sat there, just blankly staring around the room. I don't think he was listening to a word of it, because nothing about it was about him. But that was the biggest power play I've ever seen on TV. Elon Musk brought his kid into the Oval Office while he, an unelected person, gave a press conference about what the government is doing, while the actual president sat there completely silent. When have you ever seen that? When have you ever seen Donald Trump take a secondary role in any room with anybody in it? When have you ever seen him be quiet? Musk's son told him to shut up, and Donald Trump didn't say anything about it. He just looked away, kind of embarrassed, pretended he didn't hear it. And then Elon Musk's son picked his nose and wiped it on the desk.
Disgusting.
Oh. Elon Musk's son said, "You're not the president, you should go away." Now, where do you think he got that from? He's 10. Think he just came up with that off the top of his head? Just repeating what he's heard. So there is no doubt about who's running America. Donald Trump is the clown at the front, waving his arms around, trying to distract you. What's actually going on is a bunch of psychotic billionaires whose only concern is to make more money. And the thing about them is, if you just park all of your morals for a minute, you can kind of understand where they're coming from. They are fabulously rich, but they can't avoid all of the taxes they pay. And they see that their taxes are going to prop up the lives of people who aren't rich. They're going to prop up the lives of people who are sick. Now, Elon Musk and all of those is a billionaire. They're not sick. They're not ill because they pay for the best healthcare. But their tax money is going to propping up people who have, for whatever reason, decided not to be rich. I mean, they could have been rich, but they decided not to be. They deliberately chose to be born to poor parents. And so, put yourself in the mind of a billionaire. It must be a little bit annoying that your taxes go to save people who, in your opinion, are dragging us all down. I mean, if you were on a boat and there was 6 fit people and they were rowing us towards the horizon, then you'd want to keep the 6 fit people. But if you, in the bows of the boat, there's a lot of sick people and people who are too old or too overweight or too stupid or too idle and indolent to actually pick up an oar, then what would you do with them? You'd throw them over the side, you know, if in a world with no laws. Because then the boat would be lighter and we'd get to the promised land much, much quicker. But you can't do that. You can't literally throw people over the side. You can't kill them. And so better to take control of the government and then defund those people so that they will eventually die out, leaving the world less populated but healthier and richer. Eugenics. That's the idea. Put yourself in the mind of a billionaire who's got everything, and they must feel that they're being dragged down by all of the people who don't have everything. The stupids and the disabled and the poor and all of the rest of it. So if we could just get rid of them then there'd be much more space for billionaires. I think is more or less their worldview. And we're in a giant science experiment now, a social science experiment, because they appear to have the power to make that happen and are busily executing it. What a way to run a planet, eh?
Dreadful.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
0345 6060 973. Jenny in Horsham texts, "Hi Nick, I can't believe my ears. Apparently, if a Tory lies and cheats, it's wrong. If a lefty lies and cheats, it's okay. Unbelievable," says Jenny, who's absolutely furious. Well, Jenny, it's all about degree, isn't it? Because the previous Tory administrations wasted, to fraud, £131 billion of our money. £131 billion disappeared in 5 years. Test and trace. Where did that money go? COVID PPE contracts to friends and relations of the regime. Where did that money go? What did we get for it? Nothing. £131 billion compared to 158 quid that Rachel Reeves apparently spent on a handbag for her boss using a company credit card that was given to her for that purpose. So if you think that they are in any way similar, Jenny, then I can't believe your ears either. Was your mother an elephant? Bath. Hello, Laura.
Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, sure.
Well,
Why not?
It's been a bit depressing, so I thought I'd try and bring the energy up a bit.
Not depressing. Go ahead.
Well, also, you've had a lot of Johns this evening. Like, the last 4 callers have been called John. I'm not called John.
Aren't you? Can I call you John for the purpose of this call?
Yeah, go for it.
What's up, John?
I like your producer, by the way. He's a lot chattier. This is the first time I've called in 2 years, and he was a lot chattier than the bloke who was there 2 years ago.
Well, he's not supposed to. He's not supposed to chat to you. I'm supposed to chat to you.
Okay, well then, in that case, then I was mistaken. I must have imagined it.
Somebody else.
He was very professional. Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to talk about chickens. Is that okay with you? You can play the sound effect.
Of course.
Okay, so I have 2 rescue chickens, and they bring me so much happiness. I honestly think if you've got a bit of space and a bit of money to go to food and stuff, everybody should have one.
Chickens?
The best pets ever.
Rescue chickens?
Yeah, like instead of them being slaughtered like these charities, they buy them and rehome them. Yeah, and they're
Really?
so cuddly. Yeah,
Cuddly?
And they're so cuddly.
Oh,
and
no. No, don't cuddle a chicken. That has to be bad for you. I mean, there's a chicken flu thing going around. If it jumps to human beings, then we're in big trouble.
No, I'm aware of that, but you've got to have good biosecurity. But to be honest, have you seen what dogs do? I mean, people kiss their dogs and that. I mean, chickens are cleaner than dogs.
Yeah, well, anything's cleaner than a dog, yeah.
Have you got any pets?
No.
You haven't even got a cat? I'd have had you down as a cat person.
Well, I used to have a cat when I was a kid. I mean, we went through quite a lot of cats. I mean, like several a week. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No. Yeah, I had cats, never had a dog, and I never had a chicken. I mean, what pleasure do you get from a chicken?
Well, as I said, they're very cuddly and they purr as well.
No, they don't.
No, you can look up on YouTube. Your professional producer can get you a video of one. They do actually purr when they're happy. And
or maybe they're just frightened. Maybe that's the noise they make when they're scared.
No, don't say that. They only make it when they're happy.
This giant wobbling ball of fat keeps squeezing me. It's thinking.
Excuse me?
Well, that's what a chicken would think, looking at us.
Well, also, if you like eggs, they do produce eggs as well.
Well, I do like an egg. Most certainly, yes. Do they taste any different? Do they taste any different from the eggs that you get in the shop?
Well,
no, not really.
I mean, I couldn't comment. My hens don't lay eggs. They have a special implant. I was telling your producer about it. It's the same one you can get for your dog, or women can have it as well. That stops them laying eggs.
Why would you want to stop them laying eggs?
Because I had a couple that got poorly. I think because you're laying hens, they're laying much more than they would naturally, and so it really takes it out of them. So this implant takes them off lay, and they got like really big. They put weight on. They had loads of feathers. It's just been lovely.
Are you going to eat? Are you going to eat them eventually?
No.
Well, what are you going to do?
Just treat them like I would a dog or a cat.
Well, they're going to shuffle off life's conveyor belt eventually. All that meat's going to waste.
I don't think you've got to eat a laying hen. It all goes into the egg. You should honestly, while your producer's at it, get a picture of a laying hen and the broiler hens, because they look incredibly different. We've got one raised for meat, one raised for eggs.
But do you eat chicken, though? If you went out to a restaurant, would you skip past the chicken on the menu?
Absolutely.
Now, the chicken that is your friend won't know what you're doing, what you're eating when you're out.
I am aware of that, but in any case, I think chicken as meat is pretty overrated anyway. Don't you think?
Well, not really, because it doesn't really taste very much, which enables you to, put sauces and spices and stuff to create any kind of dish you want with it.
Wouldn't you argue that about any food, though?
Well, no. I mean, some foods have a very strong taste. Like duck, for instance, there's not really very much that you can do with a duck other than put a sweet sauce on it.
If you don't like duck, you're rather stuck, as they say.
Yeah, stuck if you don't like duck. Yeah, if duck is the only thing on the menu. But then it sounds like we're in the Fawlty Towers episode.
Well, I was going to say, you're impressed that I'm 25, but I understand that reference. And I made that reference, actually.
Oh, you did? Deliberately?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I actually had one bone to pick with you. No pun intended. So I've been listening to your podcast, the Nick Abbot Habit.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to call you in sort of 2021 with, A-class material, you were laughing. And I haven't been mentioned in it yet, and you're like...
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that what's all that about?
Well, I don't know what all that is about, but somebody should look into that very strongly.
Well, I'm a lot funnier than all the Johns you've got on tonight.
But, Laura, you are a John for the purpose of this call, remember?
Well, then I'm the funniest one.
You are the funniest John
You
are the funniest John that I have spoken to all night long. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Correctamundo.
How very much. That's absolutely made my day.
What about beef? You eat beef? Because cows are people too, you know.
No, I'm a nightmare for some of your recent texters because I don't eat meat and I'm left-wing. And I'm pro-European, well, I'm European, I'm part of the Ramonas. So, all the people that text you in caps lock.
Well, it sounds like we've got a full house here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they'd absolutely hate me. Yeah. So.
You and your chickens.
Yeah, they didn't do nothing. They're enjoying their retirement.
Oh, I don't know. Those chickens know what they've done. They've certainly been. They're certainly guilty of something. Leave it with me, and I'll uncover it. I'll uncover their secret.
I'll leave that with you then.
All right. Okay.
Homework.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, John. Cheers, my dear.
Very much.
Another satisfied customer. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
He's a great guy. He's a good guy. He's a good person.
Right, so what are we doing?
Text from William in Durham, who says, just been to watch the new Bridget Jones with some uni friends. A great watch away from the world of politics. Bridget going with a younger man reminded me of someone. Does she do a podcast, or am I making something up here? Yeah, I believe that she does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Carol McGiffin do a podcast called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol?
Oh, right, yeah.
Which I do believe I have already talked about on this show.
Oh, right, yeah.
On an internet near you, ask for it by name. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? That's right, isn't it? More or less.
No.
Yeah, what's your problem with Nick and Carol? Do you think I'd have learnt that already? We've done over 300 of them. Now then, it's been waiting the longest. Let's see. It looks like Crouch End. Hello, Brian.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Yeah, funny you were talking about Bridget Jones, because my girlfriend and I went to watch it tonight just to get away from all the nonsense.
Yes, and
we came out very happy.
Really?
It was a good movie. So,
I have never seen the first one. I'm not really into rom-coms. No explosions, no car chases.
No bodies, nothing. Well, let's see. Where do we start? How about a guy in Georgia, a congressman named Earl Buddy Carter, who has proposed that because this Gulf of America thing went down so well,
New Mexico, I bet. New Mexico?
No.
Oh.
He's gone even further. He said, when we eventually occupy Greenland, we'll change it to red, white, and blue land.
Red, white, and blue land. Yeah, I read that. But they have missed out New Mexico. I think that they've forgotten about that.
Yep,
so it will shortly
America.
become New America. Yep.
But that, and then my other favorite was a congressman. This is a case of, Elon Musk's son is not the only one who's called out Trump and the MAGA Republicans. There's a congressman in California named Robert Garcia who countered Marjorie Taylor Greene a couple years ago. She actually posted a nude photo of Hunter Biden in Congress, brought it in as, we need to prosecute this guy.
Right.
So Robert Garcia says, okay, I'm going to post a D pic, and he pulls out a picture of Elon Musk. And then later, Garcia is on CNN being interviewed, and the interviewer says, well, do you really think that you should call Elon Musk the D word? And Garcia just says, he is a D word.
Well, if it's factually accurate, then nobody can say anything about it.
He was, going with his convictions, and it was nice to see a Democrat standing up to
a conviction politician. That's right.
Yeah, and a guy who's smart and who takes on Marjorie Taylor Greene and the rest of them. The other one is RFK Jr.
This guy.
And he's been confirmed. And one of the first things he said once he was confirmed was applauding Trump for dismantling U.S. aid, which helps the poverty-stricken countries around the world, and saying it was a sinister propagator of totalitarianism and war across the globe. Now, what he failed to mention is that the person who started that program was JFK.
JFK, exactly right. JFK, his uncle. Yeah, the Kennedy that people actually like.
Yeah, well, yes. In fact, someone I had to block on Facebook because they posted a picture of Robert Jr. with Robert Sr., JFK, and Ted Kennedy, and saying, it's complete or something like that. And so, I've spent the last month or so just blocking people on Facebook because
I have a better plan than that. I just don't look at Facebook. It's better.
Once Musk took over Twitter and called it X, I said, okay, it was bad enough that when I'd go to Twitter, first things that would come up were Donald Trump Jr. So
just say
bye-bye
to all of that. Yeah, just excise it from your life.
Well, I just hope that, whenever we talk, you always say, well, you're safe over here. So I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, safer, maybe. Safer.
Safer, I think.
All right. Okay, well, best of luck, Brian, and you're going to need it. Mark in Streatham says, J.D. Vance is making me miss Mike Pence. Yeah, that's right. Can't we have a word with the Nobel chaps to give Pence the Peace Prize for what he did on January the 6th, 2021? Plus, it would be the ultimate way to troll the melon felon. Yeah, it would. Martin says, it's great being Scottish, Nick. Our water is free and we have more than England, Wales and Northern Ireland put together. Well, that is true. And this text says, Rachel Reeves is the first person for about a decade that is even close to being qualified to being a Chancellor of the Exchequer. Yeah, and the right-wing press are absolutely furious about it. They would rather somebody incompetent. Ain't that right, Liz?
Absolutely.
Absolutely they would. Let's see now. Hackney. Hello, Richard.
Nick,
Richard.
hello.
Yes, sir.
With J.D. Vance and the old one, Mike Pence,
yeah,
it reminds me of Dennis Thatcher saying it's better to stay silent and be thought an idiot than to speak and remove all doubt.
That wasn't Thatcher, was it?
I think that was Dennis Thatcher. It's attributed. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think it was somebody far more acute.
Someone with a better sense of humour, maybe?
It sounds like an Oscar Wilde kind of thing.
You'd have to have a pretty good sense of humour to marry Margaret Thatcher, though, wouldn't you? Anyway.
I don't know what took him through the day, but...
Gin.
Yeah, perhaps.
Booze.
Yeah. Rachel Reeves. I just want to jump onto this bandwagon of Rachel Reeves because I'm incensed. I mean, let me get this straight. While she was a sitting MP, she went out and spent £5,800 of our money to heat the stables for her horses.
No.
No?
That was...
And one... two,
no,
11.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm mixing them up. Yeah. No, what she did is she spent £1,600 on a duck pond.
A duck pond? No, that wasn't her. No.
Did she spend £2,200 on cleaning her moat and charge that to us, the taxpayer?
No, that wasn't her either.
Oh, God. Don't tell me that she got a tax bill from HMRC for £5 million, 30% of which was a penalty fee because she hadn't paid in properly. Yeah. I'm not saying evasion. Mm-hmm. I'll say avoidance.
Avoidance, yeah. No, that wasn't her either.
Oh, God, well, what's she done then?
So apparently she used a company credit card which was given to her for the specific purpose of buying presents for other staff members, and with it she bought a present for another staff member.
A handbag?
Can you believe that?
How much do you think Margaret Thatcher spent on handbags? And
zero.
Were they charged to us?
Yeah, zero, because she either got them free or we paid for them, I bet.
I mean, it's getting tragic.
I tell you what is tragic about this story is that she spent £158 on a handbag. What kind of person who is a higher up in a bank would walk around with a handbag that costs 158 quid? I mean, they just wouldn't, would they?
Did she buy it at our local market on Wells Street? Oi, love, lovely Chanel handbag here, only 158 quid, love.
Yeah,
or
for you, 138. Going once.
Yeah. Give us 20 quid tip, love. That'll do it.
It's just so silly. I mean, it's just so desperate and pathetic. But the right wing have been having a screaming fit ever since their party lost the last election.
Can I? I'm just going back through the files, and you know, my files are not good, and my filing cabinet is rusting, and half the drawers don't work.
Yeah.
But didn't Liz Truss, when she was going around trying to be PM, she was garnering support, and she had like a meeting of Trust for PM lunches at a restaurant, and she spent £10,000 on the bar bill to woo her supporters, and she charged that to
us.
I can't remember. Was it us?
I can't remember the exact details, but I can't even remember what the meeting was called. It was Bubbles with Liz, wasn't it, or something like that? Yeah.
Or Fizz with Liz.
Fizz with Liz. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Now it's clear.
I'm genuinely unclear.
She was genuinely unclear about
That's the only clever thing about it.
that she found something that rhymes.
Yes, exactly, and that shows you exactly how clever the entire scheme was.
Fizz with Liz.
With Liz.
Oh, my
What else
God.
can we think up that rhymes with Liz?
Biz.
No, I'm not.
Tiz.
Right.
Ms.
Amphetamine user. Whiz with Liz.
Whiz with Liz. Whiz with Liz. And this is what that would sound like. Yeah, off their heads.
Yeah, and that's just before she takes the drugs.
Well, there's no indication that Liz Truss is on drugs of any kind, but perhaps she should think about, taking a couple.
Purely speculating, allegedly. Yeah.
All right. Good work. Thanks a lot, Richard.
Thank you, Nick.
Sorry to hear about your filing cabinet. I think everybody's filing cabinet is a bit like that. Rusted. The doors, the drawers don't work very well. You've got to really, really yank them to pull one out. And who knows what's in the bottom one? Nobody ever goes in there. Tessa says, a few years ago, my dad was asked by his late mother-in-law whether he had bought his wife, her daughter, a Valentine's Day card. He said, yes, of course. The mother-in-law raised her eyes to the ceiling and said, silly chump. Oh. Well, that's a sad story. I felt certain that was going to be, elevating. But it's not. This text, let's try this one, see what this one's like. This says, exclusive, outrageous Keir Starmer once possibly crossed the road without waiting for the green light and a pedestrian crossing. He did? You wait till the Mail finds out. And Paddy in Cheltenham says, Nick, can't we just construct a Thunderdome inside the Houses of Parliament and let them all duke it out? Maybe make it pay-per-view, with all the proceeds going to put roofs over the heads of the unhoused. Refreshments will be provided by Thames Water. Other water companies are available. Well, they are at the moment, but for only for a limited period, I would imagine, because they all seem to be teetering on the edge of catastrophe, despite all of the money that we gave them. What did they do with that, by the way? Apart from shower themselves with our hot money.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
This text says, funny how the smears against Rachel Reeves come out just when the economic outcome is better than expected. Yes. If the economy had gone down by 0.1%, if GDP had decreased by that amount over the last 3 months, then, yes, the press would have had nothing but that to talk about. But as it went up by 0.1%, they said not one word about it. And it's not a great result, let's face it. But to just restate the case, it's a bit difficult making something out of a smashed ruin. It's easy to break something. It's very difficult to put it back together again. And that's what this government are in the process of trying to do. And I don't agree with every precise decision that they've made or necessarily the direction of travel on a lot of issues. But a hell of a lot better than what we've just suffered through. I mean, there can't be any question in anybody's mind that hasn't been brainwashed or is just trying to find something wrong with them because they're on the losing side in the last election. I mean, you won for 14 years in a row. Would it be okay if the other side takes a shot at it every now and again? Manchester. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Richard's mad, isn't he? But I do love him. He's very articulate. So, listen, the last lot did a load of stuff that was wrong. lot of stuff that was wrong. This lot seem to be doing a lot that's wrong. They all do wrong, mate. So I mean, like, there's no happy medium, really. There's no happy Mondays. You know.
Well, there are happy Mondays, and there are mediums.
When was your last happy Monday, Nick?
My last happy Monday.
Maybe talking to Carol McGriffin because
last
she's
Monday.
great, by the way.
Well, we don't talk on Monday. We talk on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
All right. When's your last happy Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday? Listen, there's always something that arrives in the day that cheeses you off.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't ruin the whole day, though, Stephen. And one poor decision, as far as you're concerned... hang on a minute. God, talking all over me, mate. Let me get a word in. One poor decision, as far as you're concerned, by a government doesn't make a rotten regime.
They all make bad decisions, Nick. Listen,
they're human beings. They're not robots.
Affirmative.
Not robots.
Exactly.
Human beings.
Can we do our Barry Norman and Jonathan Ross bit in a minute? I've got a great film for you, by the way, and there's no Brian Garner involved in it.
Barry Norman and Jonathan Ross.
Yes, sort of thing, where me and you go, why not? Well, I'll do the Barry Norman bit. I watched a great film tonight, Nick.
What is it?
Amazing. Honestly, I'm a big 6'2" grufty from Manchester. I was in tears, mate. Sorry.
It's not that
Star Wars. No.
Bridget Jones thing.
No.
What is it?
It's actually quite an old. It's called Into the Wild. It's about an adventure called Chris McCandless, and he basically makes his way into the vast wilds of Canada.
Oh yeah,
and he's got all this hope, and he's going to go out there and survive for 6 months, whatever.
Is this a new film?
No, it's quite an old film.
Oh, my God.
There's a guy called Emil Hirsch. Honestly, it's called Into the Wild.
Talking to us about an old film? This is not even new news?
It's not like Laurel and Hardy or Harold Lloyd, is it? I mean, it's like, you know...
It's in colour. Okay, it's in colour. At least we got that.
But I know you like your movies, so watch it, honestly. It's just...
I most certainly will do nothing of the sort.
Why not? Can we talk about chickens and hens?
Yes.
I'm not being rude now, but hens and cocks, the feathered variety, by the way, don't cut me off. So my neighbour, Victor, decided he was going to build like a chicken coop behind our houses, right? And then he got 8 hens and he got 2 cocks. Like the furry varieties, by the way.
Yeah, the cock-a-doodle-oo ones. Yeah.
And, oh my God.
Well, that should not be allowed in a built-up area. Why is he allowed to do that? I mean, those things will wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, it was about, to be fair, it was about 5 o'clock every morning.
All right, well, 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock, same blooming difference. It's way too early.
About the business, like, hello, matron, like all that sort of stuff. And it was like, we're going, I've got some ear defences, I've got these things, you know what I mean?
Ear defences. Yeah, just get rid of the cockerels. Nobody needs those. Yeah, they're just awful.
And he goes, and Victor would say, I've got 2 eggs today. I said, I don't care, Victor, I haven't slept for a week.
You didn't get them for the cockerels, that's for sure.
Watch Into the Wild, Nick. It's a great film.
Okay, I most certainly won't, but thanks for the good advice. Cheers, Stephen. Nobody should be able to own a cockerel within 5 miles of any other person. That should be the law in this country. I used to live in a place where somebody bought one, but I was up one side of a valley and they were way over in the distance. And there was something quite pleasant about hearing it that far away. It's like some noises that are annoying up close are actually, pleasant when heard from it, like children playing, for instance. Like if you've got a playground next to you, then the screaming must just put your nerves on edge. But if they're half a mile away and it just blows on the wind, the noise, every now and again, then that's quite nice, isn't it? Somebody mowing their lawn, like a couple of gardens away, that's pleasant. But you don't want it next to you because that's just annoying. And a cockerel, oh no. A leaf blower, mind, that's just annoying no matter where it is. You can be a mile away and it's still annoying. Leaf blowers. Don't get me started on them. 0345 6060 973. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, mate. Yeah.
Mike.
Got one to pick with you.
Yes.
Earlier on in the show, you were complaining that your water rates down your way are going up over 600 quid.
Yeah.
Which prompted me. I thought, I'm sure I saw the Yorkshire water bill come through the post this week. And so I did it out, opened it, and my water bill for next year has gone up from £700 odd pounds to 900 to £934 for next year.
£934?
Yes.
Blimey.
From 703. So I believe in Boris. I think we should level up. I think you lot down there should pay 750.
I'm stunned by that. I had thought that everybody paid more or less the same. What possible justification is there for some people in some parts of the country paying almost double what people in other parts of the country are paying? Where's the justification for that?
Well, the reason they're saying is that they pollute Bridlington and Hornsey beaches profusely at the minute, and they want to stop doing it.
Right.
And they need our money.
What have they done with the money they've already got?
I don't know, but Yorkshire Water, I mean, okay, they're not bankrupt. Well, they're not going to be if they're charging us more than you lot are paying down there. But, that's gospel. I just opened the bill.
The nerve of these people is just absolutely staggering. And that there is a supposed government watchdog is laughable, because what the hell are they watching? Because it's not the industry that they're supposed to be overseeing. They seem to be enablers rather than a watchdog. And the amount of money that they're charging, and have just showered themselves with our cash for excellence in showing up to work or being a shareholder, you know, executives earning 6-7-figure salaries for running a monopoly, for a good that is essential to life that you get put in prison for if you don't pay. I mean, that sounds like the perfect business, doesn't it?
It's just vulture capitalism, same as providing PPE that didn't work at a price that you decide, not the government. I mean, it's vulture capitalism. But can I have a quick word on Trump, just a little bit?
Yeah, okay.
I was thinking about his attitude and the way he's gone about Ukraine and his dealings with Putin, and that made me think back to his first term. Because he went to Moscow, and he went into a private meeting with no American presence, Putin, translators, and Putin's advisors. And I thought at the time, he's arrogant, he's stupid, he doesn't understand protocol. And then I thought about it when this MI6 guy came out and said there was compromise on Trump.
Yep.
And I thought, well, the only possible logical reason to go in on your own is that you could not afford any American to hear or see what Putin provided.
Right.
And then when they came out the meeting, they walked back on stage, I don't know if you remember, and Putin came out beaming, striding along in front, Trump trailing along behind, looking like a 5-year-old that had his legs flat. And it just convinces me that he must have something on Trump. Because why would you concede?
Well, here's the evidence that I would point to. Just hours after Donald Trump won the election this time around, Russian state television, which in a country that is as controlled as Russia would not ever put anything out that they did not think would be approved by the dear leader, or that was or what they had been directly told to put out. They put nude pictures of Melania Trump on the news.
I've seen them.
And then laughed about it. Now, if that is not the ultimate message to say, OK, well done, you won that election by whatever method, but don't forget who's in charge, then I don't know.
No, I mean, it's appalling. It's just like Trump is Putin's bitch at the end of the day. And that really is worrying. That's more worrying in some senses than other aspects of it's crawling around, because that's dangerous forever.
I mean, people have been looking into, his Russian connections, and coincidentally, I believe that all of them have just been fired. All of the people that were looking into Trump's Russian connections, I think they've all been fired and their respective offices closed down, which I'm sure is just a coincidence. But if you just think of everything that Donald Trump is doing through the lens of how would it benefit Vladimir Putin, then a lot of what he's doing starts to make perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. If you just take a step back sometimes and analyse stuff, and don't take it at face value, and you think, why would that actually happen?
Yeah.
Logically, and then you end up sometimes with only one conclusion at the end of it.
Who's benefiting?
Yeah.
Apart from Trump,
You can't compete with Putin on money. I mean, Putin keeps saying that Musk is the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
No, he isn't.
I bet he isn't, yeah. All right. We live in interesting times, Mike, which is, frightening. Thanks for that.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Can I have an outside line, please?
This text says, I don't understand why you wouldn't want Reeves gone, Nick. She's useless. So is Starmer. Honestly, we'd get back into the EU quicker if Farage won the next election. Finally, he'd get his comeuppance and the country would be clamouring to rejoin. Well, it's just extraordinary to me that people think that Nigel Farage is the answer to our problems. I mean, when he was an MEP, a member for the European Parliament, he didn't do anything. I mean, he kept going on about fish, but he never actually showed up to any of the committees on fishing. Wasn't there. I think in the European Parliament, there was only one MEP who had a worse work record than Farage, and he was in hospital. It was a very, very sick person. But I think he was also in a wheelchair. Other than him, Farage had the worst voting record of any MEP. So we know that he didn't really... I mean, what he did do, without fail, was to pick up his wage and to fill out his expenses and complain about both of them constantly. And now he's an MP. Well, he may be in Clacton right now, working on behalf of his constituents, but I doubt it. So we know what his record as an MEP was. We know what his record as an MP is, and yet people want to make him PM. Are you out of your minds? Southsea. Hello, Damien. Damien.
Hello, I'm here.
There you are.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
What are we talking about?
Oh, chickens, Russia.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that.
I thought we were talking about Valentine's and older, younger relationships.
Were we? Well, I guess we are now.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, I think.
Mentioned, yes. Okay. So, older, younger relationships.
Yeah.
Are you in one?
Sorry, I'm not presenting, but yeah, I mean, or we can go back to Russia if you want.
No, let's do younger, older relationships, because that apparently is why you called. So go ahead. What experience do you have of that?
Valentine's Day, they've purposely put that out there.
Who did?
Mad About the Boy.
Right. Mad About the Boy is a film, yes.
Bridget Jones.
Right.
And this has been generational for perhaps the last 25 years, I would say.
What do you mean, generational?
Well, I mean, it's not like, whatever, in terms of like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's been going for like 20 years, if that makes sense.
No.
In terms of like Jurassic Park 1, Jurassic Park 2, that kind of thing.
Okay, so they've had several of these. I've never seen one because it's not really my thing. But so they've had many of these. Right? Are they all the same film, essentially?
Well, I think if they were all the same, I think they'd be very boring, wouldn't they?
Well, no, the Jurassic Park films, they're all the same, and they're excellent. Aren't they?
No, I can't agree with you.
No,
on that
they
one,
are.
sir.
They are. They're all the same. Somebody goes to an island and some monsters escape, and some of the cast survives. Same thing every time.
Well, I don't think they'd get many visitors, though, would they? Because I think if you'd seen the first one and they said, we're opening a new park, can you come and visit us? I think I'd give that one a swerve.
Yeah, I'd give that one a swerve as well.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But no, we're talking about, I don't know why this came up, we're talking about Valentine's Day, and the biggest film at the moment is Man About the Boy.
Right. That's the Bridget Jones thing, is it?
It is.
Right.
It is, absolutely. So Bridget Jones is 60. Oh, no, but she portrays, because she is probably nearer 60, she portrays a 53-year-old woman, and she is going out with a 32-year-old man.
Right.
So have you got a problem with that?
Have I got a problem with this?
Yeah.
Wait, but the scenario or the film? Neither.
Well, no, definitely not the film. I couldn't give a Sharon about the film,
No.
but in terms of the relationship, because I think that is what everyone is kind of clinging towards.
Clinging?
Yeah, I've had a massive issue because I'm with a partner at the moment, and I am 39, and she is 60, on the nose.
Right.
And I've had problems with it, and it really annoys me.
Problems?
I have had problems, yeah.
But what do you mean, problems?
Well, I mean, I've had 90% of people fine, but friends, family,
other
have been
people. Other people you have problems.
criticising me
Right.
that it's not right.
But there's only 11 years between you.
No. 39 and 60 is 21.
Oh, yeah, that is maths, yes. 21. Well, so what? 39, 60, I mean, that's more or less the same, isn't it? Pretty much.
I don't know.
I mean, when you get past 35, that in my experience, everything else is kind of the same. I mean, it might take you...
Well, I thought that, though, mate, but I was a bit of a boy about in my time, and, but this has reignited me, and actually, my drive, for want of a better word, has gone up, and, I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
You've never seen anything like it in your life. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. The thing is, society doesn't mind it when old guys go out with young women. That's fine for society because, men are in charge, so that's okay. But when it's the other way around, that's when society has a bit of a problem with it because men aren't in charge in that scenario. The woman is in charge by dint of her age, and so it just rubs some people up the wrong way. And I think that you should maybe not listen to those people, Damien.
It does, and you're right, and absolutely, and that was my point, sir, that in terms of the films that are coming out, I mean, there was one before, but the one that's out today is Valentine's Day, which is Mad About the Boy.
Right.
And that is the most actually, related to where I'm at. And actually, I think there's a thing, and I think there's a bit of I don't think there's it's not like a kind of, what do you call it, like a trend or something like that. But I think it just makes it easier, if that makes sense,
What, there's a film out of that?
Well, I think that in terms of the way it's come out and the fact that there was one before...
that is the nature of these films, is it? That's what Bridget Jones is always about, is it?
Well, not what it's all about. It's just she's kind of iconic in the sense that she's actually like the man she's met is 20 years younger. But
right.
I think there's another one out recently that I've seen as well. But anyway, forgive me. We digress.
Do we?
Is that, do you know, I don't think it matters really. Age is just a number.
Well, it is a number, and I'll do maths for you. 20 goes into 80, a lot more than 80 goes into 20. I think that's a Bette Midler joke. So it sounds like you're on the right side of maths there, Damien. Enjoy. All right, don't listen to any of the naysayers, because they'll just say nay. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. David in Teddington on that subject says, Nick, as a Valentine's Day present to my wife, I repaired the dripping taps in the kitchen. Do you think I've set the bar too high for next year? Well, repairing the dripping taps does get you maximum points, I would imagine, because it's the sort of thing that's so small you don't really want to get a plumber in, because a plumber will charge you 60, 80 quid just to walk through the door. And then it'll take them probably 5 minutes at most to fix the dripping tap, because it probably just needs a washer, right? So it's the kind of thing that you would be inclined to try yourself. But it also has the potential for disaster. So if you've managed to repair it without disaster, then I do believe that will give you 10 out of 10 for this Valentine's Day as the present to the wife. As for setting the bar too high for next year, well, there's probably always going to be shelves that need putting up. Now, that can lead to disaster as well. But equally, you wouldn't want to get a handy person in to stick some shelves on the wall, because it's the kind of thing that you should be able to do yourself, particularly if you own a power tool. So I think you're on the right track there, David. Keep on keeping on. And best of luck for next year. Don't put any screws into any live wires. That's my best advice. Jim in Bury St Edmunds says, would you be as open-minded about a Tory Chancellor if they had encountered expense issues such as those that Rachel Reeves has had recently? Oh, God. You've got to be kidding me. She spent £158 on a present for her boss using a company credit card that was issued to staff for the purpose of buying presents for other staff members. 158 quid. And she was working for a bank. This is just another example of this hysterical fit that the right wing have had ever since they lost the last election. Because they do feel as though they're born to rule. And when anybody else usurps them, they feel that they have been somehow cheated. And it has been one long ever since the last election. Oh, my God. And I knew that they'd do it. It's entirely predictable. And they're blaming Labour for everything that is wrong with the country. Having spent 14 years smashing it to bits, they expected the Labour Party to fix it all in the first 14 days. Well, it's going to take longer than that. It takes longer to build something up than it does to smash it to bits. You're going to have to wait, Jim.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
We are running late. Steve says, I honestly believe that Trump wants to be Emperor Trump of the new USA empire. Hopefully, like all empires, they will eventually fall. Eventually? I don't think we can wait for eventually. And Jackie in Dorset says, hi, Nick, Trump looks like an albino raccoon. Besides, the orange foundation won't stick to his pillow due to it being wet from his dribble.
Don't be rude.
That is pretty rude there, Jackie. Bath. Hello, John. Another John.
Hello. Yeah, I know I was about to say, I just, with regards to your lovely sounding 22-year-old young woman, not all Johns are boring and not funny. Some of them are famous, some of them are infamous, some of them are intelligent.
That's right, yeah.
I haven't actually heard the calls earlier on that she was referring to.
No, me neither. You get a whole rainbow coalition of Johns.
Of course. Dare I say a panoply of Johns.
Well, you could say it that way if you like.
Well, panoply, a patchwork quilt, or a plethora. I don't know which is better. I was going to say a couple of three things, and I'll be very brief as I'm aware of your time.
Yeah. Panoply.
First of all, I know you. Sounds like a dessert on a pizza, doesn't it?
Panoply.
No. No, I was going to say that your last texter that said that he fixed the tap.
Yes.
He didn't say where in the house. It could have been in an abattoir, for all we know.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he didn't say where it was. He just said, I fixed the tap.
Well, I think I'm guessing kitchen. I'm guessing
I'm hoping, but you
kitchen.
never know. Some of the callers are kind of like surprising me today. But the other thing I was going to say, I've actually made peace with myself, and I've actually come to the conclusion that I don't care anymore about what's going on in the globe because it's fruitless. This is pointless. I've lost track of the amount of people that are acquaintances, and by acquaintances I mean people who know me, who talk about Trump, and they like Trump, and they like Farage, and they like this, and they like that. And if I can't convince them to wake up, what chance have I got with the world?
You know, part of me does think it's good that Donald Trump is the president because people are yearning for his return and they want to be led by a strongman dictator type because there is a lot of that. A lot of people want to be led by a dictator because they assume that the dictator will be nasty to other people, not them.
Yes,
and Americans are realizing that ain't the case in in huge numbers, as you can see from the videos of them crying into their phones that their welfare checks have just been taken away from them, or their family's just been deported. And so I think I wonder if it's going to cleanse the system to get this to get this out of people's systems. That you want this is what it's like. And
is that what Thames Water has been doing all this time, cleansing the system by killing it?
No, they haven't. They haven't been doing that.
But they filled it with a version of Trump.
Yes.
Now they're going to clean it.
Pour it all over your beach. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I would say, just finally, though, just before... Sorry, I'm to interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
Look, this is all going to make no matter anyway, because in 6 to 7 years' time, there's an asteroid coming towards us.
Yeah, it's not big enough to provide an extinction event, or at least that's what they're telling us. Because, of course,
we'll find out.
If it was big enough, then they probably wouldn't tell us, would they?
No, of course they wouldn't. Mass hysteria would occur.
Well, yes.
And 7, day Adventists and all sorts of things. What I was going to say to you as well, also, that quote one of your callers said about keeping your mouth shut and not being perceived to be stupid.
Yeah.
It comes from the King James Bible.
No.
Its origins are there. Some people attribute it to Mark Twain. Some people attribute it to Abraham Lincoln. But it's actually the King James Bible. I think it's 1727 or something like that in the King James Bible. And if you read it, it's more or less verbatim kind of what that quote is.
Well, every now and again, this show's an education, no?
No. No. That's the last thing we want.
That is the last thing we want, particularly at this time of night. So thanks a lot, John.
Take care, Mr.
All right, ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, I just get the feeling that maybe people need to get this out of their system. Okay, here is a strongman dictator, and we'll let it simmer for 4 years, or 8, or 12, or however long he stays, and then see how much you like it. And I think it will put people off for the rest of their lives, because they'll realise that, somebody who actually has the best interests of the country at heart, who isn't going to be perfect, they're not a robot, they're not a computer program, but somebody who is a decent human being and cares about others, even in a small way, would be better than you're a guy who's trying to be a tough, strong man and squashes anybody who is an impediment, or who makes fun of him, or who gets in his way of making more money, like Vladimir Putin, for instance. I mean, I bet if you asked the Russian people and compared and contrasted their life under Vladimir Putin to their life under what we in the West think of as a democratic system, then they would go for the democracy. Not the strongman dictator type who spirits you away in the middle of the night if you happen to have been overheard saying something you shouldn't utter. Freedom is better. And I think that the same is true for reform. If you gave them the power to run the country, people would change their minds about them really quickly. Just ask the fisher folk about Nigel Farage. Ask the farmers, the people who have been directly impacted from his marquee policy, who voted for him based on the promises that he made. Ask them what they think.
In the echoes of thunder's might, illusions dance in electric light, a symphony of chaos spun in realms where realities run. Thunder crashes, worlds collide, in circuits where illusions abide. Visions flicker, virtual, and tempest of senses they conceal. Transform a symphony of electric dreams in the pulse of digital streams.
Let's have a call in Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, good evening, Nick.
Yes, Jan.
I was going to say Happy Valentine's Day, but it's
gone
over,
now.
It's gone.
Yeah.
But well, it's strange. I mean, I will keep to what I was going to say, though my mind's been all over the place while we're talking about.
Really?
You know, my mind's been all over the place. I mean, this MAGA empire of Trump, and this could be a third world war or something, or whatever's going to happen.
Whatever Elon Musk decides for us. Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, when the first image I saw today in the press was this. I don't know if you saw it. These Russian dolls with Trump on it. You know, the dolls that have little dolls inside them.
It's a political cartoon. Is that what you're describing? It's a political cartoon. Is that what you are describing?
No. They're actual. They're in Russia. They produce them in Russia. A Donald Trump Russian doll, and the dolls. You usually have lots of little dolls sitting in smaller size going inside it. You know, the they call them matryoshkas or something. And one of Putin and Trump, they're on sale in the shops in Russia.
Who's the outer image?
Yeah, it's got an image of Trump on the doll.
Okay, so Trump is first. Hang on a minute. Wait. So Trump is first, and then you open him up, and what's on...
Oh, no, it's all... It will be... Well, I don't know what's inside, but usually it's the same image inside.
Is it?
The dolls, the small, getting smaller inside. Sitting in... Have you seen them? They fit inside each other.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I would have imagined that as a joke... or a political cartoon. Wait a minute, which is what I thought you were describing. I would have imagined that Donald Trump would have been on the outside, and then you open him up, and Vladimir Putin's on the inside. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Each has a doll. I mean, there's a doll of each of them. Right. There's a doll of Trump. With all the little dolls, probably I assume being inside, that's what they usually are, the same image inside, and one of Putin, and what it is that it's quite extraordinary that like this we're parallel. We're in different universes, different worlds, because there's
wouldn't that be marvellous if we were in a parallel universe? You could spirit me away there right now.
No, but they're saying that like in Russia, they're saying that the myth of Russia as a pariah in the global politics is a thing of the past, with this call between an hour and a half call between Trump and Putin. Yeah.
One pariah speaking to another does not absolve either of their crimes.
No, but the thing is, the MAGA empire's got to be economic, hasn't it? It's about, as you said, it's not so much a moral thing.
He promised to bring down prices. That's why people voted for him.
Yeah, like I think the tariffs, like Trump he's bringing in No, he said that our allies are worse than our enemies in terms of
Yes, which underlines why no one in the West should be crawling across the carpet begging for a trade deal from that man, because you can't trust anything that he signs. He'll sign something and then tear it up the next day. Why would you sign a trade deal with him?
But you know what, Nick? What is? I mean, I'm so unsettled by what's going on, just like everyone else is. You know, I mean, what's going to happen with Europe? I mean, like,
well, Europe is a big place, and it wields a big stick, just like China does. China is standing up to Donald Trump. I think Europe should stand up to him, and we should side with Europe.
No, it's not just Trump. Not Trump. It's Putin. I mean, it's Russia as well, because. I mean, look, they're saying that the role of anyway, the Russia is saying that its time is over, sort of thing. It's a terrible thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think if some country in this neck of the woods is time's up, it's Russia, not Europe. And but I guess we'll find out. But we should be allying ourselves with our allies close at hand, rather than desperately hoping that the school bully doesn't hit us next. Gotta go, Jan, but thanks for that. 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 Gotta go, Jan, but thanks for that.